There you go.
Really?
Oh, there we go.
Can we get that? Yeah, is that better? All right.
Yeah, that's okay. Nathan Drake is never on time, so.
Nice, by the way, nice shirt. I see you.
Yeah, this is, everybody got really confused. I walked out, they thought I was you, and they're like, wait, you're not nearly as handsome.
Oh, I might say that. I would just.
Yeah.
People come and they go, hey, you're taller than I thought you'd be. I'm sorry.
So my first question is, I've always wanted to ask you this, is there anything as satisfying in your life as it is for me to swing on a rope and jump through the air and land a punch on a guy? Because that's literally like the most satisfaction I've ever felt in my life, and I want to thank you for giving that to us, even though I know it's not actually you, but you're the only person I can thank for that, so.
No, I do that at my son's middle school.
That's how you drop them off?
Well, yeah. No, it's just kids are a lot easier to hit. They're smaller, so you can get up higher on them.
Yeah, smaller
and they go down just like in the game. Especially like, even the 6th graders are a little easy. Some of the 8th graders are getting big, but those 6th graders just
take them down.
Where's my lunch?
They make
Kitty got wet. Like,
they make horrible henchmen, 6th graders. You've obviously been in way more games than Uncharted, pretty much any game that's ever been popular, and I think you even...
I just said you were unpopular once.
Yeah, were you the voice of the pills in Dr. Mario even, or something like that? That was a joke.
I was Troy.
Yeah. Do you actually have time to play any of these games?
I've said this before, I'm not very good at it, but yeah, I do. When I took over with Destiny, my son, my 13-year-old, is just a massive player. And then, I've always been really into sci-fi games.
Yeah.
And so we were playing that and any World War II game. But, before it was like, just talk to, oh, no, the zombies. It was, but Destiny's really cool because I'll sit there and he'll be playing and I'll take it. And he goes, no, you're gonna die. I'm like, oh, go. And then he'll save himself because he can't lose his ranking. It's like, well, how many just respawn? He's like, that's not how it works. But yeah, so I get to do that. And of course, then I'll just sit there and go, I think you should go left, Guardian. He said, Dad, why don't you go somewhere else now? All right, buddy. So, yeah, but I do enjoy them. I like, they become, see, I grew up in the, button joystick.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what, right bumper? Is that the trigger or that bumper? Okay. A, B, press A, where's A? You're pressing X. I'm dead. Well, this was fun. So I need to get better at it.
Yeah.
But, who has the time? I gotta make these things for you. Right?
Yeah. Can you pick a favorite, or is that like picking a favorite kid?
Like to play, or to
No, just that you've been a part of.
I can't pick a favorite. Uncharted 2. People ask me that, what is the favorite Uncharted? And I look at the Uncharted as kind of like high school. Like, if I had a good experience in high school, that is. But the first one's like freshman year, you're kind of figuring out the waters. And then imagine sophomore year is amazing, and you make varsity as a sophomore, and they want you to be the pro. So we were a huge hit.
Yeah.
So number 3 was my favorite to make.
Yeah.
And the only reason is because we were a hit, and it's like everyone's back, and you were so excited to do it, and we knew there was also going to be a 4. By the time we got to 4, which was a great experience, but in the back of your head, you're like, I gotta go to college or get a job. And I didn't get into schools I applied to after Uncharted 4, so I'm gonna have to get a job. But no, it was so 3 solely for that reason, and 4 I knew that was going to be the last one. Yeah. So it was just sort of that bittersweet pill that you had to take. But
was 4 emotional for you, or as it was for all of us?
Yeah. Neil Druckmann brought out some champagne. He said, "Well, I say some words." I was like, "Hi, this might be and thanks." It was. And despite what a lot of people think, Troy and I are really good friends. And he was like right there. And, he gives you a hug, and you're like, it's good. I'm like, I gotta no, we're good. And it was really, the funny thing is it was very kind of just subdued and just like, okay, that was it. You know, like,
Wow.
And that I think the fact you driving home going, oh wow.
Yeah.
That's not. But the good news is I had other projects I had to go get to work the next day for something else.
Yeah.
And so you know that if that was it, you know, like some people like they do a successful television series and that ends. You know, there's no guarantee what the next thing will be, and even if you have something lined up, it won't start for a while. I had some I think a couple cartoons to do the next day, and that week was busy. So, but yeah, it's one of those things that will definitely be missed.
Yeah, that's not how it was at all for us. I remember getting to the end, being like, I think this is the end, and I just kept kind of hitting pause to make it last longer. And then it ended, and I was like, ah! I'm sure you all shared in that emotional experience. There's something about that journey where, I don't know, there's a special connection with playing games,
I totally get it. I mean, I tell people ask me about that, like with the movie, and they don't understand. Yeah, maybe I did the performance motion capture for Nathan Drake. It's been 10 years, and we did it all. But when it comes down to it, it's you playing him.
Yeah.
It's you making, me do those ridiculous moves, things like that. And I think there's a very because the cast of characters for that franchise was such a lovable one.
Yeah, for sure.
And people really. I mean, he was one of the first video game characters where I remember talking with Amy Hennig, who created it. Like I said, what if I hit him? And I said, I got into fights in college, and I hit a guy one time, and my hand swelled up, and I couldn't hold anything for a few days. It was unbelievable. It hurts. She said, what do you want to do? I said, well, hit him and do these things where it's real. And when he falls, he doesn't quite get up. Let's just win out of myself. You do those things, and. People started to feel that kind of, okay, it's not going to be like, all the Schwarzenegger movies in the 80s where it's just, all right, let's keep going. Those big heroes. So I think it was, there's a vulnerability to him.
Yeah.
And then, Elena, was not this buxom, let's say. She was a real woman, and so many men and women grabbed onto her and said, yeah, that's real. So, and then this couple, it wasn't just like, and he kisses her at the end. It's like, oh, they're not gonna. It was. And if you go back and play all four of them, you see that the true arc of the whole thing is this love story between these two people. And like, I can't tell you how many couples I meet that, and sometimes it's the guy who's been playing. I got my girlfriend or wife into watching, or now it's like my wife. Oh, my husband didn't play, but now he's playing with. Because he just would watch them.
I need to talk to those people and get their secret.
Yeah, exactly.
To talk to my wife.
I think that's the great thing. I think that's the great part of gaming and some of these real cinematic games where you can get on with these characters that you fall in love with. And it's not just a 2-hour experience where you watch them and go, oh, that was cool. Yeah. That's it. It's hours and hours with these characters. So it's important.
Yeah, we love them in the same way that we love, Indy and Marion. Those comparisons obviously come from a lot of places, but it's that kind of everyman, vulnerable, when he punches somebody it hurts. And
not always.
Can we expect maybe a cameo in Lost Legacy?
I don't know. I don't know if I should say anything about that.
All right.
Probably not. No, I'll just say it. No.
Okay.
No, I think it's a good idea actually, because when you close the chapter on that,
for sure.
And what I like about it is I do know some of the behind the scenes of what that is, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you're an Uncharted fan, you got to check that out, because there's characters that there's still great stories to tell.
Yeah.
And I just I don't know. I mean, Nate's like, oh man, I'm tired. So they just this thing, in the clothing they got really, with Elena, you don't know about this.
Well,
there was a game 3.5 that you don't know about. We shot it in my garage.
Is there any kids in here? It's early Sunday morning. We don't even serve alcohol.
All the good people are in church, right?
Yeah.
Or in Dallas at the strip club.
Or still at the bar from last night. Yeah. I want to ask you about something else you probably can't talk about if you have any information at all. But
It should be good.
yeah, it's a great way to set up a question. The Uncharted movie. The last we heard, the script was finished from Joe Carnahan, who did A-Team and Smokin' Aces and a couple of other great action films. Do you know the status? I know they Joe talked to you about it.
Yeah, well, I met Joe one time for dinner just to meet him and hang out with him, and we have mutual friends. And I don't know. Are you kidding me? I'd spill secrets, but they're really. I don't have any. He's the writer. I'm sure I haven't read the script. I'm not really privy to that. And I'm okay with that because I actually kind of like to I want to be a fan of the movie and see it. I don't know. I don't know anything about production. They had, was it Sean Levy? Sean Levy was going to direct, and I haven't heard anything about casting. Nobody's contacted me about anything. People say, "Well, did you do a cameo?" I'm like, I would do a part.
Can you just play Nathan? Can you just play Nathan?
No.
Oh, yeah. Emily as Elena. I mean, come on.
Kidding me? I've done 4 movies. Why do I want to do this one? I just don't. I told him. I said, I don't want to do a camera. I don't want to telegram for Mr. Dre. I'm like, look at the camera.
Wait, hold on. Is this Uncharted movie set in the 30s for some reason?
No, in my head it is.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hey, I'm an indie fan too, Mr. Jones.
I mean,
the bellhop with the little hat, little fez. No, but if there was something, tangible to do, I would absolutely be part of it. And I think in movies, people just, most people understand that they need like a movie star to open movies, especially foreign. That's how they sell it. They pre-sell it. They've made money before it ever hits the theater. They have to make up their costs, and then if it's a hit, but they break even is, that's a good thing. So that's just the way it is. And here's the other deal. I'm 46 now. I look great, I know. But I am. And the thing is, it's just, if you let's say it is successful, you need someone that's not going to be like, wait up, we're gonna climb that. By the time you get to movie 3, there's no. So
I feel like you're talking about Harrison Ford right now.
I am not. He's kind of the king.
Do you have your own? We all love to play the fan casting game. Do you have your own kind of fan casting top choice?
Funny. I think they talked about a movie since we were doing.
He already said no. Sorry.
Chris Pratt turned it down.
Yeah,
great. But by the way, why would he do it? Because Star-Lord is Nathan.
Yeah.
I mean, you just take that. And he's perfect, but he's already done it. I did Star Trek because J.J. Abrams, and I had more than one line, but the others were cut. Power coming online, sir. There you go. You're welcome. Now you don't have to see the movie.
Telegraph to Mr. Kirk.
That was very quick. Telegraph. Fez. Who's that guy? That's what I would have. Telegraph to Mr. Kirk. Maurice LaMarche does that the best, by the way. Maurice LaMarche used to say we'd do a cartoon with me, and I just look over at him and he'd go. Through the glass, and I just. But when I did that, I remember sitting in the makeup chair talking to Chris Pine, and I was like, at the time, I don't remember when I did that, and I was like, Chris Pine is perfect. I mean, he's literally about my height, but he's got those blue eyes that Nathan Drake has, and he would be, and he was great. And he's a really good actor, and he's funny. So I thought he would be great. But every year to 5 that goes by that this doesn't get made, you got to start looking to younger and younger. So I don't know. I really, really have no idea. You just want to get somebody. I mean, by the time I always joke about it, but by the time they make it, I might get to play Sully. Can't get too old for this.
Yeah, I think Pine would be good. He's not a name that I've heard mentioned, but I think he'd be good. It's so interesting because video game movies suck. We all know that.
And that's, by the way, just to touch on that, that's a lot of big A-list guys are going, do I want to do that? Because I mean, Fassbender, I was like, whoa. I still haven't seen Assassin's Creed, and I really want to see it. And people go, I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh. That, by the way, when I did the first Assassin's Creed, I remember finishing it. I once called it Apollo Creed.
It's a weird shared universe. Yeah.
That's a whole different game, Rock. No, but I remember finished the script and we got to the end and I go, okay, I said, just use the bathroom real quick. And I said, yeah. And I came back and I said, where's the rest? And they go, no, that's it. So we're coming back to do, but they said, no, that's the game we're gonna do. Hopefully we get picked up for a second game. I went, what, you left me here? It left me, and I couldn't believe it. And I thought, this is a good, amazing idea for a movie.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed that it didn't get as received as well. And again, it goes back to the fact that it's a very personal experience when you play, and I don't know if it translates.
It's the same book to movie relationship, I think, for sure.
Well, this is the example I've given before. 50 Shades of Grey. Now that movie has made a fortune.
Great video game.
And I will be mocapping it. Here's the thing. Every woman in here, if you read the book, probably had their vision of whatever, Grey.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
In their head. And then you go to a movie and it's like, they picked one guy. He's like, well, that's not my guy, but I'll watch the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so Uncharted could be the same way, but it's like, no, that's not the same. That's Elena? Okay, go with that. But, I think, and I just think that that personal experience can get diminished a little bit. And maybe that's why a lot of these games don't, unless it's like a Resident Evil or something where we got something like that.
Yeah, they haven't quite figured out how to translate that experience yet. The experience of being invested in a game and being invested in a movie. And the thing that I think a lot of us are drawn to about Uncharted is it reminds us of Indiana Jones and so many movies that we love, but at the same time, it's influenced so many. I mean, the plane scene in the last Mission Impossible, like Tom Cruise was very open about the fact that like he loves Uncharted and that was heavily influenced. And J.J. Abrams, huge fan. There's so many people in Hollywood that are such huge fans of the game that
one of the greatest compliments that we got for that was when I met J.J. He said that opening of Uncharted 2, he said is the best opening sequence I've ever seen in TV, film, games, anywhere. He said that train thing, he said that was unbelievable. And it was just, from him. I mean, he's one of the, he's the best. And he's just literally, he came up to me on Star Trek and he's like, having fun? I'm like, yeah. I remember I stood at this panel and I was looking at it and he goes, hey, he said, good stuff yesterday. He said, and he said, you having fun? I said, yeah. I said, I was just looking at this panel that I stand at. I said, this stuff actually works, and you never see what I'm looking at during that movie. A lot of times you just put lights and you pretend and you look up and you're lit. They had things that it's like, and I'm sitting there. I actually ruined one of Peter Weller's takes at one point because I was playing. They said, oh God, I was like, yeah, just was clicking. I'm like. And he walked up, and it was really cool though. It was like being a kid because it's like but instead of my clubhouse, they built a starship. I mean, it's real. Yeah. And you're walking around this thing, this is unbelievable. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm looking at this. I said, this thing must cost more to get here than me. He goes, it costs a lot more than you. It was sad, but it just, and the thing about him is, I never saw him like raise his voice, get upset with it. He made the whole set. I mean, I'd do anything, to working with him because he's just so collaborative. And that's the other thing I talk about in gaming and making these games. Naughty Dog, any of the developers, Activision, EA, all of them. It's such a collaborative industry where nobody's idea is stupid. Some of mine are, but they can cut those and not tell me, so I don't get hurt. But the idea is they really, it's a super collaborative industry, and JJ handles his business that way too. Yeah. Delegates the power and trusts the people he hires and has on there.
Well, and I think that's why it is so tough for both Uncharted and Last of Us being the two kind of most cinematic games we have, and being so influenced by so much cinema that we love, I think a lot of people are afraid to mess it up. But
well, and it's, the thing with Naughty Dog is it's always been great writing.
Yeah.
I mean, with Last of Us, when Neil Druckmann asked me to do David for Last of Us, it was like, I was like, you really want? And he said, yeah, how do you think? And he showed me the artwork, and all I could picture was like David Strathairn, you know, just kind of that, just nice guy that would talk like.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'd just bring it down a little creepy. It's all right. And he could smile, but his eyes would always stay crazy. And it's crazy. Cons everywhere, and it's always these sweet young girls come up. I love David. I'm like, wow.
Parents.
You got an uncle in prison, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it. Welcome to April 2nd.
Did you? I'm sure you have, but did you?
Sometimes I say things like, all right, let's see what they write about that one.
Did you? Speaking of movies on chart, did you see the video of Harrison Ford playing the plane?
Yes, that was actually.
Have you guys seen that?
Has anybody seen that?
Is that Japanese?
It's a Japanese game commercial for PlayStation or promo.
Yeah.
But it only ran, and it was. I remember where it was when I saw that. I'll tell you, it was Harrison Ford. All right, what is this? And he's with a PlayStation, and it's the sequence where Drake falls out of the plane.
Yeah, it's a plane
he's dead. Oh wait, no, he's not. Oh, that's great. And it's him playing, and I'll never forget it. Laptop in my kitchen, and I said, yeah, somebody sent me this, and my son was sitting there, and we're watching it, and he just looks and goes, Dad, I go, huh? He goes, Indiana Jones is playing you. I was like, because you know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of inspiration from him, and I'm a Han Solo guy. I love Mark Hamill, by the way, and I know him. Cool. But you know, and I love that, but you know, I was Han Solo. I mean, I had like, you know, Halloween when I was 30. Han Solo. No, but I was Han Solo Indy. I mean, I would play those, you know, just those make-believe games in the yard. It was just, yeah, it's just so cool.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's so cool.
Yeah, everything's out there. So.
Yeah. Let's kick it out to you guys. Yes, right here.
I was wondering, like, did you hear like the previous person's performance who did the Ghost and Destiny? Like it was Peter Dinklage. Like, he did the Ghost, like, and like they replaced his performance with yours because like
I know about this.
He's an actor. And he's not.
I am also an actor.
His performance.
Stop while you're in it. I'll tell you the story. I went in, it was an audition, and it was strange because my agents called and they said it's a paid audition, which is an oxymoron, you know, that you're gonna, but they wanted the full working chunks of, you know, hours, and so they were gonna pay my rate to go do it. That's strange. So, and I worked with Bungie before, and we just went in and they said, there's a character, we're doing this, and I said, okay, and I had no idea it was a replacement. And we just were, they were messing around, this is the kind of voice, and I hadn't played Destiny. So we're just doing this stuff, and just playing around with the voice, and finally just found something that was kind of in here, and anybody who remembers Knight Rider, I was kind of going, it's kind of like Kit. Guardian, eyes up, let's move. No, I don't, we've woken the hive. You know, so, and then after they like, that's the voice we want to do, no, and we took a break, and they said, come on here, we want to tell you, and then they told me what it was for. They said, okay, we want to move forward, this is what it's for, and I said, Silly, my kid plays this game. I said, really? And it wasn't as dramatic as people think. You know, I mean, I remember Nolan North replaces Peter Dinklage. I'm like, oh, come on. Here's the thing. He's really busy. And Game of Thrones is shot in Northern Ireland. And to get him to a studio in Belfast, and is it available? And he's got so many other projects lined up. I'll go in, they'll call me, like, is Nolan free Wednesday? It was Tuesday. Like they'll move things, like, yeah, and they want to do stuff, and you have to be available, and you're there. And yeah, you know, I asked my son about it. He wasn't a fan of the previous Ghost, but I heard it and I was like, well, it's not that bad. And he says, yeah, but there's other parts that they didn't, it wasn't Peter's fault. He's a brilliant actor. He really is. And the writing had gotten better and better. The scary thing for me was I had no idea you could go back and replace somebody like that. Like, that game's out. It's on a disc. You burn that on a disc. I'm like, no, it's a live update. We'll just wipe you out. I went, oh no! I was like, you can do that? So I'm like, I gotta keep my game going because it's like, Uncharted with
Peter
Samuel Jackson.
Dinklage.
Yeah. Peter just swap. Like, just swap it, yeah. No, but, no, I mean, it was, I really think a lot of that came down to availability. I felt bad. Most of 90% or more has been very positive, but I understand people like Dinklebot, right? And yeah, it was Dinklebot and now it's Northbot. And somebody was Nolan North, it was going to be or something like that. But it was, no, I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I'd like to work with Peter one day because I'd just love to sit there and go, did you even hear about this? Do you remember? But it was good press for a couple of days. Peter Dinklage probably was sitting there looking there and who is this guy? It's this clown. So it was, it was not as big a dramatic thing as a lot of the media made it out to be, but I love it. And my son is a big fan, and if he's happy, I'm happy. And that's the other thing, I am emotionally invested because my family likes this. So, and my son plays, and his friends play, so I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm letting him pick, so I don't look like a jerk. We'll get to you, though.
So all these virtual worlds you've been able to create characters for, so many unique ones, Middle Earth, Arkham, Portal. If you could live in any of these kind of fantastical worlds, which would you choose to go and inhabit?
Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, Pretty Little Liars. I want to go somewhere where teenagers are killing everybody. And nobody can find them. Should we call the police? No. Wait, Toby's I remember one time I came back to one of those seasons and went, Toby's a police officer? He was just cleaning my backyard last year. That's a great question.
Yeah,
that's a great question.
I think you're probably richest in Uncharted.
There are a lot of people shooting at me there.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know, wow. That's Saints Row. Yeah. There's people running around with purple phalluses. I'm like, I don't want any universe where that exists. But I think that's it.
Pretty Little Liars is probably the safest bet, just because
Really?
there's snow, there's electricity, there's coffee.
Yeah, but that's real. Let's go fantastical. I gotta find something.
Deadpool, you won't die.
Deadpool?
Do I get to be Deadpool the whole time?
Yes.
No, I don't know. That's a really good. I don't know now.
Crash Bandicoot.
Very colorful. I've done a lot of games. I'm trying to go through my head like where was something interesting. Oh yeah, that'd be nice with me. Gozo may be nice. Yeah.
Zombies.
You're all giving me the no choices. Space, that'd be good. Wow, that's a really, really good question. Maybe there, yeah. Maybe a Star Wars universe, Old Republic. That could be cool. Spaceships, things like that. Yeah, maybe. There's a couple. I'm gonna keep thinking about that. Let's go to another question.
Yeah,
That's it.
This guy has not only raised his hand, he has raised his bag, so I'm gonna call on him.
What's the story behind the Marco Polo jokes in all four of the games?
It was a complete ad lib. We do something called, for Uncharted, we call it Chasing Picture. And I think we were one of the first games to ever do it. The designers would play through a level, and they'd have Drake walk up and look at things, do stuff, and then I literally sit there, and it was the only stuff we didn't performance capture. And I'd sit in the booth, and sometimes if it's Sully and Drake running through, or Lane and Drake, we'd sit, and that day was Claudia Black, Chloe, and I. And we're sitting there, and just watching it, and I would comment. And sometimes I'll just be like, looks like I'm gonna have to climb that, because then they look up and and I just would make stuff up. And they got to that level, and there was a pool, and the designer had just got in the pool, started swimming. And I just went, ooh, it's cold, or something like that. I went, hey, Marco. Hey, Claudia went. And Claudia Black went, no, I'm not going to. I said, come on, Marco. She said, Polo. I said, because, Marco Polo. She goes, I get it. All made up. And it was just one of those things. So I think they just carried that over with but that Marco Polo joke.
But wasn't Marco Polo an explorer?
Mm-hmm. It was an explorer, but we were after
perfect joke.
But in Uncharted 2, it was Marco Polo.
Right.
Had searched.
Yeah.
We, got the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He was be like doing a T.E. Lawrence joke. But
yeah.
T.E. Lawrence doesn't work. Kids don't play that.
You mentioned climbing, and I've always wanted to ask a room full of Uncharted nerds, but I've never been in one. After you guys play the game a lot, do you start to look at the world as if I sort of climb that, and then I go there? Right? Yeah. Did you do that?
I know how to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, not just me. Awesome. Let's take one from the back, all the way to the back.
I got to meet Troy Baker before, and I asked him a similar question. What's the funniest moment you've ever had in a booth, like a time where someone else just made such a great joke that you just broke out laughing?
The first one that comes to mind was actually Maurice LaMarche, who's just so funny and so fast. But we did a cartoon called Robot and Monster together, and we were doing ADR, where you have to you do the scripts with nothing, and then they'll animate to the stuff you've laid down previously, and we're watching it. And he had this little robot that he gotta talk like this. He always yelled, and one of my guys, my little guy said, "Oh yeah," and he pulled a coin. He's like, "Oh yeah," and it's just one of those that I went, "Ah." He's like the magician who pulls a coin out, and this little guy jumps up, and you hear Maurice go, "Hey, that guy's made of money. Get him!" And I was like, "Ah!" and every time he did it, I literally fell, and I literally slipped, and I was sitting, and I fell out of my chair. And it was just the way Maurice delivered the line and that visual right there. I mean, we've all had a cartoon that just, you're surprised. I'm a grown man, and I'm laughing at this cartoon. It was so much fun. We had Harlan Williams and Maurice, but Maurice LaMarche is like this pleasure to be in a booth with, because you never know what's going to happen. The only other one is John DiMaggio. John DiMaggio is one of the funniest people I've ever met. And he did this other character in another Nickelodeon cartoon, Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket. And burgers.
That's a thing?
It's a thing. I remember when I got cast of that, I said, I'm sitting there with my wife, she goes, "What?" I said, "Oh, they just booked me on another cartoon." She goes, "Oh, good." She said, "What is it?" I said, "Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket." She said, "Say that again?" Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket. She went, "Oh."
It sounds like
I'm
somebody's
so proud.
It sounds like somebody's weird, safe word or something.
Yeah. No, but he does this guy Burger Stein, like, "And a bird, good, boo!" And it has no, but it's like this, it's a hamburger head, and like a leg, it's a piece of wood, and an oar for an arm, and like the characters that put them together, and he was like, and he does this.
I feel like that idea just
But
comes.
we talk about that. We said, man, these creators, I don't know where they are, mushroom sandwiches or something. That thing's crazy. So DiMaggio, anything and John and I work together on a couple other things now, and every time I see him, I'm just like, okay, what's gonna happen? He's so funny. He's the best.
I feel like that idea just comes from sitting in a room being like, we need an idea. Pink, there's a boat.
Yeah.
Banana, cricket. Ah, there it is.
It's funny, Tom Wilson's here. Tom Wilson plays Banana, Biff from the Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. People, and I look at him when we're doing the show, and he's just, he's projecting the whole time, just yelling, "Hey!" And he's just so funny. So talk to Tom about playing Banana. PGBC.
Raheem.
All right, so first of all, I tried the climbing thing after playing Assassin's Creed in Italy. It doesn't work.
Did
Wrong game.
Did you jump from a tall building into a thing of hay?
The shadow.
Yeah, he can't climb like I do.
So,
Desmond can't climb, he just whines, Dad, Abstergo, People always say that, why don't you have Desmond pictures? I'm like, they killed me in 3.
yes.
So what's your question?
My question is actually related to that. Were you disappointed of how it ended, or what's your reaction?
Oh yeah, no, I was. I really liked that series. I think Ubisoft does a great job. Roger Craig Smith's a buddy of mine at Ezio. He's just amazing. I love, and yeah, it's a beloved franchise. And the sad thing is, I didn't know I was dead till social media told me. He said, "What do you feel about Desmond's death?" I'm like, "Huh?" Because we didn't record Desmond, and that's why in 3 they brought me back to do. I think it was kind of an afterthought where they brought me back to do the tapes where he's talking to his dad and explaining it. And I remember doing that going, isn't this a little expository? We're just kind of, yeah, we just got to wrap you up. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just, it was kind of one of those, it happened that way. I missed it. I really liked it. I would do it again. I love that developer. I think they're really smart and they write good material. And the games are so much fun. I mean, come on. Hatchets? George Washington? How cool is that? So I think it's a really cool game. I just wish he could have gotten out of Abstergo and gotten into one of those other. I thought it would end up being one where he's like, takes all the senses from the others, his descendants. And,
Modern day.
yeah, modern day. You did, right? Well, I'm working on it. I'll come up with something. Right here.
Hey, I was wondering, is there any kind of like genre or like specific series that you would like enjoy working on in the future, or like a dream thing that you would like to do?
Western.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Red
love.
Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I do that in a heartbeat. Yeah, I love that game. I think that's really cool. And I was a Clint Eastwood spaghetti western guy, but then anything like that. And Graham McTavish, as an actor, is a friend of mine. He was Lazarevich in Uncharted 2. We became such good friends that they made him Cutter in Uncharted 3. He was Dwalin in the Hobbit movies. He was on Outlander as Dougal Mackenzie. And now he's on Preacher. AMC, if you haven't seen Preacher, he's the Saint of Killers. And the funny thing is he's the meanest looking guy you've ever seen. And he's a puppy dog. He'll be at my house tonight. I think he flies in tonight and I fly home. So he stays at the house. He's Uncle Graham, and he's there's a lovely glass of wine before dinner. Like, okay. He's amazingly talented. And I mean, all the people say, what's the best part of all the Uncharted years? I worked with such great actors that made me better. I mean, it's like playing sports against someone. You play basketball, you play someone who's a little better, you're going to step up your game. And guys like Graham McTavish forced me to step up my game. And I like to think I did. And I feel much more confident with everything I do. Television, film, more games, whatever, because of the experiences I had on that. But Saint of Killers and Preachers, he's just like I am. And so I'm living vicariously through that. Because he's like, I have a horse. And he's just, he has to kind of talk like this. And he's just, there's one line in that first season where the guy walks up, puts a gun to his horse's head, and he just goes, don't. And it's just, the Saint of Killers, I get goosebumps. This show, if you haven't seen it and you're into that kind of, if you read the novels, I think the Saint of Killers murders the devil. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember which book I did, but I hope they do it in the series, but he is like, but the reason, they show the reason why he is because it's what happened to his family. Oh my God, it's so good. And he's living this fantasy. He gets this horse. He says, I have the duster and the gun, and it's just, it's the best. Yeah. Western. Next.
You mentioned flying home. I gotta admit, if I got on a plane or a train or in a Jeep or a pirate ship with you, I'd be a little bit nervous because bad things seem to always happen to you on those things. They should make a sequel.
I never die.
Yeah, you should make a sequel sequel to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles called Planes, Trains, Automobiles, and Pirate Ships, starring Nathan Drake.
There you go.
It's a good movie.
That's
It
possible.
can be a Western. All right, ready?
Okay, so it's no secret that you have voiced some of the most iconic characters in recent gaming. But like looking over, like you've voiced characters like Desmond Miles, Deadpool, Nathan Drake, and all three are different in their own separate way. Like example, Nathan Drake is very charismatic, very snarky, and he doesn't take any situation serious. Desmond's really stoic and stern, and has been damaged by a lot of people.
And Deadpool's out of his mind.
Yeah, Deadpool's Spanish and has no filter. My question for you is, like, when it comes to, like, when you're given these characters to come up with a voice with, what's your process in determining, like, how you voice these different characters?
Yeah, it's a great question. I always like to start, if it's a new character, with art. Some of these characters have a background. Nathan Drake was easy. Amy Hennig, when she created it, said, hey, I want you to just put as much of you in this as possible. Just it's you. And you know, but you with an amazing upper body strength. Freakish upper body strength. I used to joke, I said, does he have like bird bones? Does he have like hollow bones? So that one was just, and approach Nathan Drake as any kind of on-camera job I've had, because it was. As far as I was concerned, it was an on-camera job. That performance capture, I mean, every move, every run, every crouch was me. And then by the cinematic scenes, now you're with the other actors, it's like doing theater, just without the set. You know, it's just very simple. But other characters, you know, the Penguin's a great example, because the Penguin, they brought me artwork, and you see him, he's tight up, he's got the cigar and his bottle, and so you kind of get in that spot, and they say, he's just smoking. I know people who smoke, maybe some, they're like, no, this British, you know, this guy shows all that down here, you know, and you know, and then there's also history behind the Penguins that you've had, you know, I mean, from the, you know, the TV series with Adam West, the movies, you know, Danny DeVito, everybody is, you know, and I mean, think about Robin or Taylor. He's, you know, he's got his whole thing, and it's brilliant the way he, you know, everybody has their own little take on things. For animation, gaming, and you know, cartoon series, whatever, I like the artwork. That seems to always help me find character. Tall, thin, is he heavy set? What is it? Sometimes the heavier set goes, the big guys. But sometimes he'll come higher, you know, because you draw to the opposite, you do something different. My favorite example is Rob Paulson's Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. Hey Jimmy, what are you doing? I have allergies. And I'm like, I love that voice so much, but it's Rob's. I'm like, I don't want that. I love that. I loved Carl Weezer. But, you know, so the artwork, the animation, what other people have put into it, you kind of want to, and then the director, and sometimes the directors are the animators, and I'm like, what do you hear? And then I'm one of those guys that will play with them, will kind of go, what do you hear? And they're like, yeah, that's it, do that. You know, that Pig Go Banana Cricket, I did one character, and he's like, this guy had a Red Sox hat. I said, and I looked at him, you from Boston? He goes, yeah. I said, I grew up just south of Boston. I started doing this thing, and I'm like, this guy's like a Kennedy. He's like, yeah. So that ended up being a character like this, which I can't believe I'm doing in Dallas. But oh, what, too soon? Right.
Literally like right down the street from it.
No, but I mean, he said, but we thought, and then he started getting bigger. And then he started being back in here. And now he's not really, but it starts here and you just kind of add layers to it. One of the other great things with some of the characters, you take like an impression, and sometimes you do a bad impression of someone, and that's an original character. You know?
Yeah, I feel like there's some walk-in in some of your stuff.
Well, here's the funny thing. My wife, I covered Christopher Walken for about 6 or 7 movies earlier in my career, because they can't afford to bring him in, and I'm cheap at the time.
Wait, you've done ADR for...
Oh yeah, 6 or 7 movies. It's like a line or two. It might be like,
that's crazy.
in the movie Click, there was this one sequence where Adam Sandler's walking by at the end, and he's old, and Christopher Walken's in the back, and he has 2 lines, and he says his first line while he's on camera, and then it moves past, and Walken's no longer, and the director looked at me and said, I need you to say this line right there, we'll beat you in. it's just the addition to that line, because it just takes too long to get to the cut where he opens the door out in the rain and chases his daughter down, and then he dies in the street.
Spoiler.
But he gets better. And he walks by and he goes, Michael, don't do this. And then it just comes out of the screen, and I had to say, Michael, it doesn't have to end this way. And by the time they lay that in, it sounds just like him. You can't tell the difference. And taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, I did John Travolta. What are you gonna do, Carter? You gonna shoot me? You gonna shoot me, Carter? And now that everyone goes, that doesn't really sound like him. Put his face up, and that was coming out of his mouth. You're like, oh my God. I didn't even think I could do it. And next thing I know, that was a sad story because his son passed away while we were doing that. And Tony Scott, rest his soul too, he called me and we met back and he said, you saw the news? He said, I need you to finish this movie. Wow. So if you ever see Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3, that's not with all the profanity taken out, and it's got a lot of profanity. That's probably me, like behind it, because Lottie's like, say, you better get down here, behind the walkie-talkie. There's a lot of profanity that we had to clean it up. So
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. There's people that do it. There's amazing people. I know the guy who does Kevin Spacey's. Has done a bunch of his stuff. It's just, because they might be off in Europe shooting another film and they can't get them to a booth. They can't, so. And we haven't done it in a long time, but people are still doing it.
Have you done voices like since you were a kid?
Yeah, I always joke about it. I get paid to do what I got detention for.
And what is it? Just how did your
parents don't like to hear that? They're like, oh.
I'm sure there's a lot of aspiring voice actors. Like when you were a kid, how did you discover that you could do voices?
I never. This isn't what I ever planned to do.
Yeah.
I just never thought this was. I just grew up in New England, and it was like, this isn't it. This isn't something you do for a living. I didn't think people in California.
You start doing it to make
people
people
laugh. They don't even eat McDonald's
yeah.
up there. What are they? It's always sunny. I wasn't a bright kid. I was like, the Chargers are playing the day, but it's nighttime here. My father just shakes his head. No, I don't know. I always could. I could hear. I know people can play music by ear, and I always heard accents, and I always liked them. I had uncles up in Danvers, Mass, and everybody talked like that. And he was like, "Oh, that was wicked cool. We could pass that, dude. Yeah, the Sox. Oh my God, the Sox are going to be so good this year." And then, you go down south, and Texas has different things. Matthew McConaughey has that little whistle. That says when it's all that sweet. I just want to take this off. All right. No, but it's funny. It's just I always liked it. I got my first illegal beer in Newport, Rhode Island. All my friends had these fake IDs. I didn't have it, and I was going to blow their cover. So here's the one guy, and just out of nowhere, she said, "Can I get you on?" I said, "Yeah, just have a Foster's, thank you." And it was when Foster's beer commercials were big in the States when they just started. And she goes, "Do you have ID?" I go, "Excuse me? ID? And what do you mean, my passport?" And my friends are going. She's like, "Do you need ID here?" I didn't know that. No, I can go back to the hotel if it's a problem. She's like, "No, where are you from?" And I was like, Perth. In my head, I was like, oh, she might have been to Sydney or Melbourne. I was like, Perth. Oh, I don't know where that is. I married that girl. No.
We have time for just a few more.
You know what? I'll do quicker answers.
Oh, rapid fire.
Yes,
right.
yes, no.
Yeah.
Go ahead, real quick.
Yeah, are you going to be in Con Man 2? Or do we know anything about that?
Con Man 2's out, and yes, I am.
Is it out?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's the blue gone to his brain. Yeah, no, it is. It's great. Con Man, the second season is out on Comic-Con HQ, and you get to go to Jerry Lansing's mocap school. And we do a musical version of Lou Ferrigno's musical version of Mice and Men called "I'm with Stupid." And you don't want to miss it. It's fantastic. We're thinking about. We're hoping for season 3.
Yes.
And if you don't know about this, here's my little pitch for the game. Con Man also is a game. It's my first time producing. Alan asked me to help produce this mobile game, and it's where you build your own convention and run and manage your own con. And
That's pretty awesome.
Got to put in inside, you put in the toilets right places, and the food vending. Make sure everybody's happy. Jerry walks around, and you tap on him. He's like, "Yes, Jerry Lansing, you're welcome." And it is a lot of fun. It's of course, free to play, free to download.
Do we get to be?
Play,
Do we get to be Dr. Manhattan's penis in that?
Maybe yet to be seen. But yeah, we're very, very proud of it, and there's new things, new updates coming, and we can expand it. Joss Whedon is animated as our janitor. Kevin Smith is a security guard. So check it out, and download it. Tell Nolan sent you.
Let's continue the blue theme from blue hair to Dr. Manhattan's penis to the blue hair in the back.
Got it. Oh yeah. Portal was great. Space. No space. Dad, son, are you space? No, son. My favorite though, I love space. Everyone loves the Space Corps, and Fact Corps, but I like Rick. Rick, Adventure Corps. It's one of my favorite lines I've ever had to do, and I wasn't ad-libbed. It was there. I said, "Who wrote this?" But if you played Portal, Rick is like, he's hitting on the woman. And he's this little orb, and he goes, "Yeah, what is it? I gotta make sure I get this right. I am a master at karate, jiu-jitsu, and bedroom." I was like, that is awesome. Yeah, little lady, ooh.
All right, let's rapid fire through these. Try and get all you guys super quick. Rapid fire, go. Oh, this is so slow. Go.
How was it to play Edward Rick's offense?
It's a lot of fun. Wunderbar, even. It's crazy. He's out of his mind.
All the way in the back?
Hold on, you ask your question.
Yeah.
You keep saying that these sort of games are fun. Are you doing it based off of what your son is experiencing, or do you play the games with him too?
Yeah, but I'm literally like, we'll play and I go, don't die. I don't want to. I haven't built my own character, done that kind of stuff. One of the reasons that you're here to see me is because I work a lot. And it's like, I got to get these kids through school. It's like, to college, Dad. I'm like, get a job. So yeah, I'm really, I'll get home and I'm exhausted, and, you have dinner, and then you're like, did you hear me say 46? It's like, hey, it's bedtime. Yeah, no, I do need to play more though.
All the way in the back. Way back. Yep, you.
How'd you get the role for Smokescreen?
So, it was a basic audition for Smokescreen. Coolest room I've ever been in animation. Sitting there, Darren Norris, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Frank Welker, who's like my hero, and now he's a golf buddy. Isn't that cool? And but I'll tell you a quick story about Transformers. I'm sitting there, and we would do it like in a U shape, and I'm in the corner, and I had to do something, and I'll never forget it. Where I just went, I don't know. Okay, Optimus, what should we do? And on my left, I just hear, Autobots, roll out. And I went, that's the coolest thing of my job, is the fact that I work with people, we're all fans of each other. You can't, people ask me, like, what role would you want somebody else had? It's like, and I think Carl Weezer might be the new answer, but I don't covet other people's stuff, and I don't think anybody else does. It's just, we love and respect each other so much. But when I heard Peter Cullen say that, he's 10 feet away. I mean, chills went up my spine. And Kevin Michael Richardson, who's genius, sitting right next to me, gets me every time, man. And I was like, and Darren Norris is looking at me doing Spotswood. He's like, Nolan, that was fantastic acting.
Let's get this good, ready?
Yeah. Have you seen a video of Nathan Drake versus Laura Croft? It's like a death battle.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming, guys.
They go into specifics like
She's good at something. Really? I'm not going to be happy with the ending?
I was pulling for you the whole time.
I can just tell you I didn't mocap that. Although, did you see Nadine just beat the snot out of him in Uncharted 4? Oh, yeah. Never. Can't wait for that DLC. Make sure you check out that DLC and because I'm going to be watching going, oh, Chloe, please beat the crap. Has that been announced yet? I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know. I ain't saying anything, but we'll be playing that. Go ahead, yes. Yeah?
Yeah, you're calling them now. Go.
So, would you ever do a master class for voice acting?
Ooh,
Like Gary
ooh.
Lansing?
Oh, no. No. Why would I give away secrets? I have no secrets. I'm as bewildered at the fact that I continue to keep working as possible. So I don't know what I'd say. Everyone would get up there and I'd say, thank you for your money. Good luck. Yeah, there are people who are really good at that. My brother's baseball coach, and he's a coach, and he knows how to, people said about directing, and I'd be like, cut, do it just like this. I don't know if there's people really good at that. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't have enough to say.
This gentleman's giving us the wrap-up symbol.
Is that wrap-up, or is that like almost wrap-up? It's past wrap-up. Thank you very much.
Guys, give him a round of applause.